Steph and I met in 2005, when it was still a bit geeky to date people we meet online. We dated for 6 years before getting married. Felt good to be accepted into Steph's family and to be loved. We were very stable. We made a conscious decision to try for a baby, and she became pregnant very quickly. We were both delighted, but also anxious about our journey ahead. It was the birth of our boy, Oliver. That was the start of the tensions in our relationship. Steph had post and prenatal depression, and I didn't really know how to help her. She didn't know how best to help herself. It was all new to us. Neither of us had had previous children, and we both had our own mental health issues. She was angry and volatile and verbally abusive towards me, especially after the birth. It felt like the most significant and happy time in my life, and there were parts of me that couldn't understand why she couldn't share my happiness. We were advised to go to relationship counselling, but I didn't trust it. After having a bad previous experience with therapy, friends would leave us cards of support. It was well-intentioned, but used to make me feel angry. I wanted Steph to reach out to the NHS for support and medical intervention, but life just carried on. Neither of us got the counselling or therapy we needed, and I feel guilty now. Maybe I was the reason. My focus turned mostly to our baby. I had this precious life in my hands that depended on me, on us. I would be working full-time and doing the night care. In recent years, I had learnt I have autism and ADHD. This made it hard for me to switch focus between work and home life. I regularly left jobs or had to take sick leave on the grounds of stress and mental health issues. Tiredness you feel with a newborn baby is torturous. I try and sleep at any given opportunity. I'd often park and have half an hour in my car. I barely slept for the first 4 days after Oliver was born, as he had jaundice and had to stay in hospital. It's a difficult time for me. I always had this niggling feeling that I should be doing more. I felt helpless when he was crying, and I didn't know why. Oliver and my nephew were born 3 weeks apart. I remember my nephew's cry sounded angry and loud. Oliver's cry always sounded sad, and I couldn't help but comfort him when I heard it. I took a lot on when he was first born. Like many men, I wasn't the best at asking for help, but it did help nurture a very strong bond with Oliver. He would call for me in the night as he knew I would always come. I tried to see Oliver's crying as communication, often for food or constipation, a nappy change or a cuddle. We tried a baby formula, but that gave him constipation. It was trial and error finding a formula that best suited his digestion. Baby massage helped with the constipation too, and it gave us techniques that we used long after the classes had finished. But it is distressing when your baby cries. You are always worrying about them. Being a new dad is incredibly lonely at times. I spent a lot of time alone with just my baby. I never had many friends as an adult, and don't have a typical relationship with my own family. I feel you grow into the role of the dad. Before long, you are naturally bringing wet wipes and baby formula around with you, and become indifferent to all the sick, wee and poo. Honestly, if it was my boy, I didn't mind. It's funny. A lot of parents will take great delight in telling you that none of their children are dummies, or that you should or shouldn't give them to a baby. If your baby's a little distressed and they are soothed by a dummy, then why not? As part of a loving package, along with feeding, warmth and so on, it's fine. Eventually my relationship with Steph broke down, and I feared being single. I thought the loneliness would be unbearable. I used to turn up at mother and baby groups, and they always made me feel welcome. Still, I did feel like I wasn't totally supposed to be there, due to the name of the group. I attended some dads and babies groups, but always found conversation awkward with the other dads. Maybe this was down to my autism, or maybe men just find it difficult socially sometimes. Looking back, childbirth hit us like a brick. It was traumatic. No amount of baby books prepared me for the impact that it would have on my life. But from that trauma, strong bonds have been created. There are friends and relatives that want to help. The NHS are there to help, but you have to reach out. There is a new and precious life that needs you now, so do whatever is in your power. For a long time I wasn't looking after my own well-being. It's important for me to keep my creative life and to exercise and to keep my mental health at its best. Understanding my own mental health and taking my medication helps me to be totally present and at my best to help others. I love being a dad. It's become my special interest. I've always struggled with my identity and how I fit into this life. But being a dad has given me a title. I've been called a lot of things over the years, but the best of all the names is Daddy.